Love, love, until I feel the breath of the Spirit flowing in me.
Hello and welcome to Spirit of Life. I'm Mirella Rich. Today our guest is Leon LeGrand, who had a major contribution in bringing Mary's messages from Medjugorje to Australia. He sold multi-million-dollar houses, cars, boats. A lot of his finance went into Medjugorje for 15 years, and he's here to tell us a little bit about it. Medjugorje is a place in Bosnia-Herzegovina where Our Lady has been appearing since June the 24th, 1981, and still is today. Welcome to the program, Leon.
Thanks very much, Mirella.
Can you tell us a little bit about your experience, how you found out about Medjugorje and what drove you just to sell so many things and just put all your money into getting the message out to everyone in Australia and also 4 other countries in the world?
Well, my parents went to Medjugorje in 1983 and they came back singing the praises of Medjugorje. I couldn't believe it. I just thought it was too much, over the top. And they started spreading the messages themselves. And then in 1984, I decided I'd go and have a look myself. So I went to Medjugorje and I was absolutely astounded. It was so surprising.
What was it that struck you the most when you went there?
Well, I went there on a weeknight, and the leader of the group was an American nun, and she said, look, we're going to go to the Mass at 7 o'clock. And I said, well, wait a minute, it's a weekday. I'd rather leave me here at the hotel where we'd stop for a toilet stop and pick me up on the way back. She says, oh, no, you've got to stay with us. We're taking you to your accommodation afterwards. Now, I was absolutely surprised when I got to the church to find that the local Mass in Croatian, for the local people, it was just absolutely packed. Everyone was there. Virtually the 5 villages around Medjugorje come to Mass there daily. And after that, I was absolutely astounded to see how they prayed. They prayed with such feeling, and it was just wonderful. And passion and belief. It's just like there's no doubt in their eyes in the way they pray. I've never seen a church like it anywhere in the world ever. Well, I immediately believed when I saw those people pray. And like, for example, when the Eucharist is raised at the consecration, people just put their hands out like, Jesus, he's there. Jesus is really there. And you know that what they believe is happening right in front of them.
That's right.
It's great.
And you also met the visionaries as well. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, well, I went to the trouble of going to see all of the visionaries, and then on my 2nd and 3rd and 4th trip, and I think over 40 trips, I got to know the visionaries very well. And brought Ivan out to Australia, who was one of the visionaries.
That's right, Ivan.
And that was quite exciting.
And how did you start this, bringing Ivan to Australia? How did you actually consult him? How did the conversation go?
I spoke to his spiritual advisor in Medjugorje, priest, who's now deceased. And he's a wonderful fellow, and he said, look, we'd love to come out to Australia. Can you arrange the transport and accommodation and whatever? So I said, of course, everything. And so I did. And we took Ivan all around Australia, and then a series of meetings. Also, we arranged for him to go to New Zealand, and later I took him to other countries as well.
Wow. And what other countries did you take him to?
Well, the Philippines, Hong Kong, Macau, New Zealand, these were the main ones.
And you started up a bookshop here in Auburn Road, wasn't it?
That's
in
right,
Hawthorne?
a Catholic bookshop.
Catholic bookshop with all things of Medjugorje. I remember I used to go there and it had videos and books and Mary's messages in books, and the videos were amazing that you helped produce. Tell us about those videos.
Yeah, well, I was the producer of those videos, and I had a professional director. I wrote the scripts for them. And produced not only Medjugorje, but one on the Rosary, the Mass, and other things as well.
Really beautifully
and
done.
I know it helped a lot of people.
Absolutely, and you must have heard stories on how it's helped change people's lives, because I'm sure it would. You did it with such passion, and so many people knew about you, and it's just, they still do,
Oh, well, certainly I got a lot out of that. If you want to know what one gets out of helping people in a spiritual sense is just fantastic. People turn around and say, well, look, you've changed my life.
Yeah.
It's not me that changes their life, it's the messages, it's Our Lady's blessing, it's coming back to their faith. That's what does it.
And you must have had personal conviction to just sell, you know, you had $1 million houses and boats and Rolls Royces, to give all that, to sell all that away. What was the inspiration really behind that?
Well, it needed it.
Strongly?
We produced not only those videos, but over 100,000 books on Medjugorje we gave away.
Wow.
And to run around Australia for 15 years going to all these different meetings was quite a costly process.
Yeah.
So we had to sort of dig deep.
Gee.
And I have no regrets. It was just one of those things.
And how do you feel that Our Lady Queen of Peace has touched your life?
Well, it certainly changed my life. It's a spiritual inspiration to hear those messages and put them into action.
Exactly.
It's really good.
Full of life. And you also knew Father Slavko Babarik
Yes.
as well, who
Yeah,
now
Father
Our Lady
Slavko.
said is in heaven.
In heaven, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, a great man.
Yeah.
Absolute saint. Yeah.
And tell us about the other visionaries like Mirjana, Ivanka, Vitska, Maria, Yakov.
Yeah. All of them of their own people. They're not all really smart, intelligent people. In fact, I think Mirjana would be the exception. She went to university. The others are fairly ordinary sort of people.
Yeah.
But their hearts are in the right place, and they
Yeah.
are spiritually very, very strong and faithful.
We had Ivan, I didn't mention him because we already spoke about him, but we had Ivan on Spirit of Life. It was just so beautiful. It's just, he's such a beautiful person.
He's a lovely
And I
guy.
stayed
We
at
went to his wedding in America.
Oh, did you
My
go to
wife
his
and I.
wedding? Oh,
Yeah.
wow. That's something.
Yes,
That's
it
so
was rather
special.
special.
So he's definitely appreciative of you helping him, and you would have had an amazing relationship with him, this bond, bringing him to Australia and really supporting him in what he's doing.
Oh yes, it was quite an experience, really.
And so many people used to come to all those events, like when they had him coming to church, it was just like packed
Yeah.
with people.
Well, I think a lot of people fail to understand what the message of Medjugorje is. It's a message of peace, but not peace being the absence of war, because that's what most people you say, well, what's the opposite to peace? It's war.
Yeah.
It's not at all. It's sin.
Exactly.
People must turn away from sin and then start praying, and then we can achieve the peace that Our Lady wants us to have. She comes as the Queen of Peace, but a lot of people don't understand what that peace is. In fact, if you go to Scripture,
Yeah.
you'll get a much clearer understanding, because in John's Gospel you'll read what Jesus has to say about it, and he says, this peace I bequeath to you, this peace I give you, it's my peace.
Yeah.
He said, this is my gift to you.
Beautiful.
And that's how it works.
Exactly. We'll have to talk a bit more about that when we go back. We're going to a break now. You're watching Spirit of Life. Stay with us. We'll be back with more very shortly. Hello and welcome back to Spirit of Life. I'm Mirella Rich. If you've just joined us, we're here with Leon LeGrand, who has brought Medjugorje's messages from Our Lady Queen of Peace to Australia for 15 years. He sold all his houses, a lot of his houses and boats and Rolls Royces, all to bring the message out to Medjugorje. Our Lady's been appearing in Medjugorje since June the 24th, 1981, in a little village in Bosnia-Herzegovina, which is Medjugorje. Welcome back to the program, Leon.
Thank you, Mirella.
Leon. Can you tell us, have you seen miracles or met people who have had miracles in Medjugorje?
Yes, I have. I think the most important miracles are the spiritual conversions, really.
Yeah.
But by the same token, these other manifestations from heaven just convince people that it is from heaven.
Yeah.
The sun spinning, similar to Fatima, not quite as dramatic. The sun doesn't come right down to almost to the earth, as it were, but colours going in all different directions, spinning off the sun, the cross over the sun, and
you saw that yourself?
I have
as well?
seen that, yes, but I haven't seen some of the other rather special manifestations from heaven. The great cross on the hill of the cross just disappears, and there's the image of Our Lady for everyone to see.
Wow.
And that's occurred on a number of occasions.
Did that happen? Did you see that one?
No,
Didn't you?
I have not seen
I saw the one where the sun did come down, like it was really close, and I was on the pilgrim, and all the others were going, look, look, and I'm thinking, it looked kind of scary. I thought, this is amazing. But yes, go on.
No, it's quite stunning.
Yeah.
But also some of the miraculous happenings, like, for example, the story of Rita Klaus. She's one I know personally.
Yes.
I've met her in Australia and also in the United States. She went to Medjugorje and she enjoyed a spiritual conversion, after which she returned to the States, and then she started praying for a physical conversion. Now, in her case, she was paralysed with MS from the waist down, and had been like that for a number of years.
Yeah.
And one day, after a series of prayers on the weeks beforehand, she went to take the children to school in a special little car that was made for her with only hand controls because she had no leg movement.
Wow.
And subsequently she found on the way back that she had some feeling in her legs.
Wow.
Now, she hadn't had any feeling for years.
Okay.
So this is how she tells the story.
Yeah.
She says, I got home, I couldn't wait to get inside in my wheelchair and then hop out of the wheelchair and see what it was that was causing this feeling in my legs, which had been no feeling for so long.
Wow.
And she could see that her legs were completely restored because she hadn't used them for years. The muscles had sort of deteriorated and whatever, but they were fine. So she thought, I'll stand.
Yeah.
She stood.
Yeah.
Then they were in a 2-story house, but she'd never been upstairs. She ran up and down the stairs. Absolutely stunned. She picked up the phone, rang her girlfriend, and she was crying, she was laughing, and the girlfriend thought, what's got wrong with Rita?
Yeah.
So she rushed across there and said, oh, what are you doing walking? She said, I'm cured. I've been cured from Medjugorje. Our Lady has cured me. It's Jesus, of course, who cures everyone, but this is what she had to say.
And she wrote a book about that too,
Yes,
didn't she?
she did.
Yeah. And do you know how long she prayed for before the miracle happened?
No, I really don't, but I think it was a matter of months.
Right.
But it doesn't really end there. I think the beautiful part of it is that on that day when she discovered that she'd been cured, the first thing she wanted to do is go with her girlfriend and find a husband. And so they took off looking for the husband, and they went to a couple of places. Meantime, he comes home. He sees the empty wheelchair. Now, he'd been told that if she got much worse with this MS, it could actually kill her. Wow. So he rang her doctor, he rang the hospitals, he couldn't find her anywhere. Then all of a sudden, there's a squeal of bakes out the front. He runs to the front door, and there is his wife walking well and cured.
Gee.
Beautiful. And it doesn't end there.
Yeah.
She goes and sees her doctor and says to the doctor, look, I'm cured. I'm miraculously cured. And he said, oh, don't give me that. I don't believe that sort of rubbish. He said, I know that Rita's got a sister, and you're the sister. He said, why do you play these jokes on me?
Right.
And with that, her daughter, who was only about 7 or 8 or something, whatever, grabbed her mother's dress and pulled it and said, Mum, tell the doctor that Auntie Joan has got dark hair. And she was a blonde, you see.
Right.
And then suddenly that doctor realised it was a miracle.
Wow.
And he changed his whole life. He was an atheist.
Oh my gosh. That's beautiful. That's amazing.
Special story.
And you knew her personally as well. You kept
yes.
in contact, so she could
I've
tell
heard her
you her
speak
story.
in churches. I've met her at Medjugorje, and I've met her in the States.
Wow. And did you have any other experiences where you've found out from someone that it's really changed their life?
Oh, there's countless. But some of the special ones, like, for example, one friend of mine from Sydney, who became a friend after many journeys to Medjugorje together, and his whole family changed. They're all a spiritual change. And just before he died, this is about 3 years ago, he had cancer. And just before he died, he asked me to come up to Sydney and join him for a special lunch. And at that lunch, he said something very special to me. He said, Leon, I want to thank you for helping me find my spiritual life. He said, I've completely lost. He said, now I can safely say, when I die, I know I'm going to heaven, And he said, thank you. And I said, look, you don't thank me, thank Our Lady coming to Medjugorje.
That's so beautiful.
Beautiful.
And you even heard from someone, or I heard as well, that he's in heaven.
He is.
Yeah, we
Our
heard from the
Lady told
visionaries. Yeah.
He's in heaven with me. Yes.
That's so beautiful. He was such a beautiful man. I remember him as well. So full of life and love and God. Yeah. We have to go to a break now. We'll continue though. You're watching Spirit of Life. Stay with us. We'll be back with more very shortly. Hello and welcome back to Spirit of Life. I'm Mirella Rich. If you've just joined us, we're here with Leon LeGrand, who brought Medjugorje's messages from Our Lady Queen of Peace to Australia through his bookshop, through videos, through church talks, through gatherings everywhere. And he sold many of his wealth to fund this because he really believed in it. Welcome back to the program, Leon.
Oh, thanks, Mirella.
Can you tell us, how would you help people, or how would anyone help people if their spouse doesn't believe, or they're skeptics and they actually want faith but they're miserable because they haven't got faith and they haven't got this joy and peace in them that you find with faith, and they just think that it's just going to come to them and that's why they're angry, because it's not there?
Well, the first movement has got to be from them. They've got to want to have faith, and that first step forward is a step in the right direction. Then something else can be done for them.
Yeah.
To take people to Medjugorje just expecting to see a miracle won't necessarily lead to conversion.
Yeah.
But conversion, real conversion, coming back to God, that is people who turn away from sin, confess their sins, pray daily. This is the crux of the message of Medjugorje.
Yeah, that's right, isn't it? Pray daily, fast, go to confession, the rosary, pray from the heart, and read the Bible.
Yeah.
We've got to do all of
these
those
things. Yes.
And open our heart. We can't have Mary and Jesus and God in our heart, that we know that they're there, unless we open our heart to them in prayer.
Hearts, true.
Yeah.
And I mean, heaven's there, but you have to work on it.
Yeah.
You don't get it for nothing.
Because once I read in one of the messages, in various different messages, that God, Jesus and Mary are in our hearts.
Yes.
So they're in everyone's hearts, that means. We just have to be in touch.
Our Lady wants all of her children to go to heaven.
Yeah.
But some people just won't listen.
Yeah.
They won't turn.
Yeah.
They won't change.
And tell us a little bit about what you've heard about the visionaries and your personal experiences talking to Ivan and other visionaries about heaven, hell and purgatory.
Yes, Our Lady showed the visionaries heaven, hell and purgatory. Not all of them saw hell. But those who did describe it this way. They said, heaven is beyond any imagination. It can't be described. But I said to Ivan one day, look, surely we can say a bit more than that. How does this sound? If every joy and happiness and every pleasurable, wonderful thing on earth was multiplied by the stars, would that be something like heaven? He said, well, that's getting close. He said, but not as good as heaven really is. Wow. He said, it is an unbelievable experience. He said there are seas of people there, and everyone is happy, everyone is enjoying heaven.
Yeah. Purgatory
is a place of darkness where people suffer. They call out for our prayers because that can help them.
Right.
And then hell is a shocking place, described by the visionaries as where they have human faces but bodies of animals that we've never seen. Horrible. It's just, the whole thing is terrible. And another thing I thought of interest to me was the fact that no one is thrown into hell. People, once they're judged and they see their life, they know that they can't go to heaven or anywhere else except hell. So they go to hell on their own.
And God shows them their life.
Yeah,
is that right? And then they realise.
They know what they've chosen on earth. They've chosen hell already.
Wow, that's interesting.
Sadly.
So if you choose hell on earth, you've chosen it in the next life.
Exactly.
That's quite powerful, isn't it?
It is very powerful.
And I remember hearing one of the visionaries talking about heaven and saying it's the light is so bright, we've never seen a bright light like that, and people are walking, praying and singing.
Yeah, and there are colours in heaven we've never seen.
Yeah.
And they are the most beautiful, evidently.
I've heard Vitska was saying people are wearing pink, yellow and grey cloaks. And I think Ivan said he saw some wearing gold and blue or something. I'm not sure exactly.
The colours beyond belief.
Yeah, so it must be such a bright, happy place. Why wouldn't everybody want to end up there, you know?
Exactly.
We're only here for such a short time. Why don't we make it a very holy, happy short time?
That's right. Time is a rather interesting
that's what I want to
thing.
talk to.
We know from the apparitions that the children are unaware of time during an apparition. So an apparition that we might time them by being with them for say 3 or 4 or 5, 10 minutes, we can time it, but they have no appreciation of time. Right. It would appear that when they're out of this world during an apparition, there is no such thing as time. Wow. So time is something we have on earth, but it doesn't exist else outside.
Isn't that interesting? There's no sense of time. There's no worry about rushing to get things on time.
No, and it also explains something that this time of the year, around Easter, we hear the gospel messages, and one of them, of course, is where Jesus is on the cross, and either side of him are the 2 robbers. Yeah. And he says to one of them, the good thief, I think we call him, who said nice things to Jesus and said that he really believed. He said, "This day you will be with me in paradise." How can he be there in paradise that day when he's going to rise from the dead in 3 days' time? Yeah. But when you know that there's no such thing as time outside of the apparitions, well, during the apparitions it's timeless. Yeah. That explains it. I mean, a split second is like 1,000 years.
Isn't that amazing? And how long do the apparitions go for? They go for a few minutes?
Anything for a few minutes to half an hour or more, yes.
Wow. Yeah. And also the other interesting thing is now they're doing it on marytv.tv, streaming live apparitions on the 2nd of every month for people to watch, which is, I think, amazing, because you can actually watch on the internet. And Our Lady has said through one of the visionaries, I think, that you can get just the same blessings as if you're in Medjugorje, and you can get your articles of, holy rosary beads and everything blessed through the internet if you connect up.
I didn't know about that.
That is something I always try and do every 2nd of the month. It's so beautiful. Just the time difference. It's usually around 6 p.m. here and it's 8 a.m. there.
I think quite a lot of people are surprised that their rosary beads change.
Change colour.
Change colour, usually from silver to a goldy colour.
Yeah.
A brassy colour or a goldy colour.
Exactly. Yes. That's a beautiful thing. We'll probably have to talk about that on the next show because we've already run out of time. But you've got an experience to share about that.
I do.
So would you come back next week?
Yes, I'd love to. Thank you.
Thanks for coming, Leon. You're watching Spirit of Life. I hope you enjoyed the program. We'll see you again next week with Leon LeGrand.